Om Shanti. A very good morning to all of you. On behalf of Brahma Kumaris IT Wing, I, Kriti Verma, volunteer from IT Wing, heartily welcomes you to the fourth day of Applied Rajyoga meditation session. I hope from yesterday's session, we were able to understand the process of introspection and the benefits of doing it regularly. Brahma Kumaris, an international NGO, largest spiritual institute administered by women, with its presence in more than 140 countries, is dedicatedly working towards personal development and world renewal. Brahma Kumaris is active within various chapters of the society through 20 wings. One of the wings is IT Wing, which is working towards catering IT professionals across the globe. IT Wing constitutes of IT professionals who are active practitioners of applied spiritual concepts and meditation while living in a work-family structure. So far, through the conferences and retreats conducted by IT Wing, more than 40,000 IT professionals benefited over the last 6 years. Employees from 100 plus IT organizations such as Google, Microsoft, TCS, IBM, Cognizant, Wipro, and many more participated in these retreats. Now, before we begin the session, I would like to take you through a few important points. To experience complete benefit out of these sessions, we request you to please attend all the 9 days sessions. If you're planning to bring someone new, please make sure they have seen previous session recordings so that they are up to the pace. For getting updates related to the session, we request you to please get added to our WhatsApp group. Session recordings are available at bkitving.org/applied Rajyoga. You can provide your feedback at bkitving.org/feedback. You can use the same link to post your questions as well after the session. Keep your phones on silent mode for you to have proper concentration throughout the session. We will be having a small Q&A session in the end. So we request you to please use chat options to send your questions to BK Krati. Now we would begin with today's session. Thank you.
Om Shanti and good morning. Welcome back. And I hope you had an opportunity to go to the balcony at least once yesterday. Even if some of you are living in a flat on the ground floor, you can still go to the balcony that we discussed about yesterday. Today, we are going to discuss yet another very important aspect of our thinking, what we call as self-talk. How do we become aware of it? What does self-talk do to my mind and brain and body? And how do we harness the power of self-talk for our own spiritual growth is what we will be discussing today. So let me share my screen. And as always, let's begin with a few minutes meditation. Sit straight, sit back, have your back well supported, both feet firmly on the ground. Keep your eyes open. Take a deep breath. Relax yourself.
To parent the mind means that I respond to my own thoughts with two things. One is presence, and the other is care. The quality of presence makes me attentive. It makes me aware of what I am thinking and feeling inside, and the way that a mother would be concerned about what their own child is thinking or feeling. It means that I pay attention to my thoughts. And care is the ability to respond to what I notice in the mind. It's the capacity of the soul to guide the mind back to a place of comfort and peace when there is some kind of pain in the soul. Take a moment now to become completely still. To become as quiet as the moon and the sky. Letting go of the sound of thoughts. Letting go of the sound of the world as you slip into a space of deep silence. And just allow that silence to fill your being, to emanate inside of you the way the moon hurt. And the second step of parenting the mind is to care enough to respond with consolation, with a thought, something as simple as a pure thought of wisdom or truth, to console that part. As the eternal parent, what can you say to yourself right now to offer that hope and that love? To really recognize that fragile part of you as a child that needs support. Because every one of us has that fragile part of ourselves. We don't need to be afraid of it, and we definitely don't need to neglect it. The best thing we can do is respond to it with love. Just as we would respond to any other being outside of us in a state of pain. And maybe as simple as holding that part of you in the energy of love, or in the energy of peace right now. the way a mother would cradle a child or hold the hand of a child. It's a simple act to parent the mind. And we have an unlimited resource of wisdom inside of us. We only need the presence to notice when our soul needs guidance and support, and the care to respond with pure thoughts. Not empty pure thoughts, but pure thoughts that bring hope, strength, and vitality to the soul. This is what it means to administer parental love to our own mind and our own being.
Gently come back and feel the chair on which you're seated. So those were few thoughts about how to parent our mind. The more we consider our mind as a little kid, the easier it becomes for us to love ourselves and also to be able to manage the mind in the right manner. That's why in Hindi it said, Man ko maro nahi sudharo. So there's no point in we criticizing ourselves. Good. So yesterday, let's review for the next minute or two what we discussed yesterday. We talked about going to the balcony, switching off my projector, sitting on a blameless chair, and that's what we defined as non-judgmental awareness. And I hope you got an opportunity to practice this at least once yesterday. It's very important that you keep practicing this non-judgmental awareness consciously for it to become easier and easier for you to experience the benefits. And as we said, thought plus judgment is equal to feeling. By deferring that judgment, by becoming non-judgmental, we take control of our emotional life. Very important. That is why that non-judgmental awareness is so important. Non-judgmental awareness does not mean we will not make judgments. No. We have to decide, we have to make a judgment. Like, for example, today you made a judgment, you made a decision to join the session again, and you're going to make a decision tomorrow again to join it. When what we mean by non-judgmental awareness is when you are looking at the facts in the situation, don't jump to conclusion. So while looking at the facts, be non-judgmental. That's what it means. And we also discussed the best way to detach yourself from the situation and become non-judgmental is to become soul conscious. Because that's one of the very, very powerful tools that we have at our disposal to be able to start managing our mind and to start really enjoying the life the way it is meant to be enjoyed. Question. Do you want your mind to be like a jungle with weeds? Or do you want your mind to be like a garden? And for those of you who are interested, that is the picture of Miracle Garden in Dubai. Do you want your mind to be like this, or do you want it to be like this? No question. We would want like this. We want our mind to be like a garden. Nobody would like a weed. But the key important point is this. Weeds grow on their own. Garden needs maintenance. Now ask yourself, if you want a garden, Are you willing to do that maintenance? That maintenance of the mind done on a daily basis results in that garden, and that maintenance is what we call as meditation. And how does a weed grow, or how does a garden grow? What thoughts we create on a daily basis result in a weed or a garden growing in our mind. Very important. Remember yesterday and day before, once we started discussing about soul consciousness, we also said, I am the master, I am the creator. So I am the creator of these thoughts, and I am the master of my mind. The thoughts that I am creating as a creator on a daily basis, they result in a weed or a garden growing in our mind. And what waters that weed or garden is what you talk with yourself. And that's what we call as self-talk. That is why understanding what we talk to ourselves on a daily basis or on a moment by moment basis is very important. By becoming aware of it and by taking charge of it, we will be able to harness the power of self-talk, which we will explore in today's session. So what is self-talk? It refers to the steady stream of ongoing thoughts or internal dialogue that goes on in our minds constantly, often just below conscious thought. You know, as you saw the example of the weed and garden, you must have felt, wow, that's interesting. Yeah, yes, I am the gardener. Yes, I can create the garden in my mind. Yes, I should try that. That, those thoughts that came inside your mind, that is self-talk. Because there is a steady stream of ongoing thoughts or internal dialogue we are doing with ourselves, whether we are aware of it or not. Like air, it is present always, and like air, most of the time, we are not conscious of it. So today, we will learn to become more aware and conscious of it so that we can harness its power. And there are certain thoughts, certain ideas, which I will be repeating as a part of this course. So please don't get bored, because I feel those are some of the fundamental aspects which are very, very important for us if we want to apply the Rajyoga meditation principles and learn to manage our mind. And these are the same principles that I have personally used in my life and benefited immensely. So repetition and reflection help us to remember longer. Rote repetition is not sufficient. Repetition plus reflection increases the quality of our remembrance, of remembering those principles so that we can use them. As we discussed yesterday, every situation has two components: the facts in the situation and the story I tell myself about those facts. And how is self-talk related? Like this. That story I'm telling myself is self-talk. And whatever story I tell myself is based on my beliefs. And as I said in the beginning, what Rajyoga does is it provides you an alternate set of beliefs to look at yourself and to look at the world around. So, by providing you with a separate set of goggles to see the same world, you transform the way you perceive yourself and you perceive the world. Very, very powerful and profound way of transforming ourselves without worrying about changing the world. That's what Raj Yoga does. It provides you with an alternate set of belief system. And one of the first beliefs, Aham Atma, Mama Shariram. I am the soul, this is my body, is the first important belief or the principle we learned. And as you started seeing over the course of next few days, we will learn a lot more such very profound and insightful beliefs. And during the process, some of those beliefs may not be a part of your experience. And there might be some resistance for you to accept those beliefs or you agree with them. But my humble suggestion is stay with us. Accept them as they are with an open mind to experiment, even if you don't agree with them. Because as you start experimenting, you will start learning the power of these new set of beliefs. And some examples of negative self talk, how we talk to ourselves and criticize. I'm really out of shape. Why should I try? It's not going to work anyway. The only kind of luck I have is bad luck. I never win anything. Nobody likes me. Sometimes I wish I'd never been born. Very extreme negative self talk. And these are the thoughts that most of the times we keep making ourselves without even understanding that I am creating those thoughts. As I said, like the air around, it's always there, but we never pay attention. Similarly, there is also positive self talk. I am smart, confident, and capable. I can do this task. I can face this situation. I failed does not mean I am a failure. I failed, but I am not a failure. And failure is not the end of life. I can make time for exercise. You remember a couple of days ago we were discussing when I remind myself about the capabilities that I have, then the probability of me utilizing those capabilities and transforming them into my ability to use those increases. So, me reminding about my capabilities increases my ability to use them. So, when I say I can make time for exercise, the probability of me doing the exercise increases. Let me give it another try. So, these are some simple examples of positive self talk. Now, why are we discussing about this self talk at all? It's just there, Bala. I keep talking with myself. What's the problem? The reason is there are very powerful and profound consequences of this self talk, both positive and negative. Because we are not even aware of it, we don't even know what kind of impact this self talk is generating inside of us. So, what are the consequences when I speak negatively with myself? That negative self talk increases my anxiety, increases my fear, and that's what makes me feel helpless. Let me repeat a little bit once again. Self talk is like that air that is present all around us. It is there always so that we are never aware of it. Self talk is that mind chatter that keeps on going in our mind without we knowing that we are even creating it. And why should I be worried about that? You might say, all my life I have lived with myself because I have no other option. I have to live with myself. And if my mind goes on making thoughts, what's the problem? There is a reason. Because self talk has consequences and some really profound consequences, both mentally and physically. Because when I talk to myself negatively, that negative self talk, it increases my anxiety. Take a simple example. You are asked to give a talk to your CEO and to your management team. What kind of thoughts start going on? पता नहीं मैं कर सकूंगी या नहीं. How will they respond? What if I goof up? What if I freeze? This is negative self-talk. Because when you have that negative self-talk, it increases your anxiety, and at times, that increased anxiety can make you feel helpless. And this negative self-talk can also make you lose your self-confidence, because for some of us, our legs start shaking, we start sweating, because we already psyched ourselves up with that negative self-talk that I can't do this, I don't want to do this, and then we come to the last saying, I won't do this. And this constant negative self-talk also leads to a lot of loss of self-esteem, because if it happens many times, we lose faith in ourselves. And the most important thing which I want to share with each one of you, because all of us have gone through this at some point or the other in our life, it's not a bug, it's a feature. Sorry, it's not a feature, it's actually a bug, and it can be fixed. But this is one of those cases where the bug masquerades as a feature. It's actually a bug, but because it has been for so long with us, we started thinking that it is a feature. So it is not a feature, it's a bug, it can be fixed. So don't get disheartened, and today we will learn some of those techniques. And over the last 3 days, you also must have been experiencing how all these concepts we are learning help us think slow, to think less, and think better. So, yet another aspect is this knowledge about self talk. We also have positive self talk, because when I say, I can win, I can do this, Bala, it's going to be a little difficult for you, but stay with it. Just keep trying. You can do it. Then that positive self-talk, that affirmation, that encouraging words that I give to myself helps me motivate, and it enhances my attention. Go back to the 5 prerequisites of meditation we discussed. We talked about positive self-reflection, we talked about pyar, and we talked about practice. Why did we say those are prerequisites? Because the more we remind ourselves it's okay to fall asleep during meditation, it's okay for you to not to be able to focus when you are meditating initially because you're just starting. It's okay, just be patient, Bala, you can do it. That is positive self-talk. And research shows those sportsmen who talk positively to themselves just before their game, the probability of they performing very well is proportional to the kind of positive self-talk they have with themselves. And positive self-talk also allows us to control our emotional reactions. Very important. Because when the stimulus is coming from the world outside, the cause is coming from the world outside. But when I have positive self-talk, I can respond instead of react. Because positive self-talk allows me to control my emotional reactions. Bala, just relax. It's okay. He only pointed out to the bug in the program you have written. That does not mean you are buggy. You are not. He only pointed out to the mistake you made. Focus on the mistake and correct it. Relax, Bala. Don't just get bugged up. Don't just get anxious about that. Now, this is positive self-talk, because this is allowing me to calm down, and this is allowing me to control my emotional reactions. And what conversation we are having with ourselves, it influences our decision making based on our beliefs. As I said, Rajyoga provides an alternate set of empowering beliefs for us to process the information that is coming from the world outside. And today, as a part of this conversation, we'll take a slight digression to discuss a little more about our beliefs. Now, let me begin through a simple exercise. Rohit bhai, can you please unmute all of them? What I want you to do is close your eyes, visualize Thomas Alva Edison's laboratory. I know you haven't seen it, I understand, but just close your eyes, visualize for a few seconds Thomas Alva Edison's laboratory, and tell me or tell us what you are seeing.
Connections.
Okay,
All the wires.
all the wires, fantastic.
I'm seeing chemistry like laboratory. A lot of
Okay.
test tubes are there.
Okay, very good.
Looking at the bulb here.
Very good. Is it big or small?
Thomas Alva Edison is sitting in it.
He's
Nuts
sitting
and
in the
bolts.
center. Nuts and bolts, fantastic. Are there any papers around? Switches. Yes.
Constantly he's working out on how can
Fantastic.
I make the,
Fantastic.
I will give the best to the world. He's always thinking about.
Wonderful. Wonderful. How is he dressed? Is he shabbily dressed or he is absolutely fine or?
Very shabby. He's wearing an apron.
Very shabby. Okay.
him in white dress.
He's wearing an
We
apron.
cannot
Yes.
see.
He's tired.
He's tired. Okay.
I can
Yes.
see him in white dress.
Chair also inside where
He has a chair.
And he is also
Yeah.
thinking.
He's also thinking. Very good. Wonderful. Wonderful. Now, let me show you the actual laboratory, one of his laboratories, how it looks. Okay? Rohit bhai, you can mute them. So that's the recreation of the Smithsonian lab in US, how they try to recreate Edison's laboratory. Now, do you see? And for most of us, even though we haven't seen the Edison's laboratory, we utilized our conditioning of how a typical scientist would look like, how a typical experimentation would look like, and then map that to Edison. He was more of an entrepreneur scientist. That is, he had a lot of people under him who would experiment with all his ideas. He himself would sit in a very nice corner office directing these people many of the times. But our belief, our conditioning, which we got used to when we read about some of the scientists, especially scientist means the absent-minded professor comes to our mind, and we say that he is shabbily dressed because that is the picture we have, that is a belief we formed. And when we are asked to visualize a new situation that we are not familiar with, that then our conclusions about that new situation or our ideas or thoughts about that new situation are colored by these beliefs. Now, this is a very, very interesting thing that our mind does without our knowledge. Because we got conditioned to a certain level, and then when we face a new situation, we try to impose those beliefs or superimpose our beliefs onto the new situation and start thinking that is how it might look. So, what we do and why and how we do are the ones that are visible, that are observable, because these are visible. But what we feel, what we think, and why we think the way we think, that is basically our beliefs, are invisible. So, if we want to control our thinking, if we want to control our emotions, we must learn to acknowledge and become aware of those underlying beliefs. Because when we change or transform those beliefs, make them more empowering, make them more enlightening, then our thinking starts becoming more and more positive. When thinking becomes positive, I start experiencing more peace and calm. When I am more relaxed, my relationships and my behaviors are more measured. When they are more measured, I am in a better position to make better decisions and act well. And this is what Rajyoga meditation focuses on. And let's explore these beliefs a little more. Because beliefs form the bedrock on which the edifice of self-talk, edifice means the building of self-talk, stands and sustains. Depending on the kind of beliefs you see here, this is the area of our self-talk. Based on what thoughts we are making, we start feeling that. And what is this thinking based on? My beliefs. That is why the edifice of self-talk stands and sustains on the kind of beliefs that we have. So if we want to change our experience, we should change our self-talk. If we want to change our self-talk, we should change our underlying beliefs. And what is a belief? We have been talking about it a lot. What is a belief? A belief is acceptance that something is true or real, irrespective of its truth, irrespective of its reality. I accept that something is true or real. That becomes my belief. Because you believed that Thomas Alva Edison needs to be shabbily dressed, because you believed his laboratory should not be clean, it should be shabby, you saw all those papers. Because you accepted that that is how it is. And how do these beliefs form? And the stickiness of the belief or the power of the belief comes from this. Because we accept that it is true. And the truth, that acceptance, gives that power to our belief. That's why I said over the next few days, some of the beliefs of Rajyoga that I'm going to share, you may not be able to accept very easily or agree with them easily. Be open and just stay with us, because some of our conditioning or all of our conditioning is very, very sticky. And how do these beliefs form? What we are told since childhood by our parents and elders. According to one psychologist, we go through 25,000 hours of conditioning by the time we reach the age of 18. Our own personal experiences and what we hear from those we trust. Very important. Because we start accepting it, we start believing it. And once a belief forms, it becomes our invisible cognitive filter. It's like a glasses that we are always wearing, but which is invisible. Cognitive filter means it filters the information that is coming in from the world outside. If I believe that I am not good at doing something, even if I do it, even if somebody praises it, I will process it as if I don't deserve this praise, because I know I am not good at delivering talks. So beliefs are our invisible cognitive filters. And very interesting, beliefs without our knowledge, they modulate our experience. That is, they change the way we feel in a particular situation. Let me give you an example. If you believe one of your friends is not a good singer, however that belief is formed, and in one of your office gatherings, that person sings extremely well. Now there is a clash. You can't believe because he should not be singing well. So you won't even be able to enjoy that singing because your belief is saying he or she should not be singing well. So beliefs also modulate our experience. Again, there is a situation and there is a story I tell myself about the situation. And what story I tell myself depends on my beliefs. As we said, self-talk depends on what kind of beliefs I have. That's how it works. And that is why we are focusing here and here simultaneously so that this circle can be broken. When I gently start changing these beliefs, then I gently start changing my self-talk. And that is a process. That is why it takes patience and persistence when you want to practice Rajyoga meditation, or for that matter, any spiritual practice. And criticizing ourselves, being harsh on ourselves, having negative self-talk won't help, even if it is pretty instinctive. How you relate to yourself needs to be transformed if you want transformation to be long-lasting. That is why we talk so much about being soul conscious and not body conscious. And it's very important that we learn to accept ourselves because self-acceptance is the foundation of self-kindness. And when we are compassionate with ourselves, when we treat ourselves like a small kid, then that kind of attention we give ourselves to our mind motivates us to be, and that self-compassion becomes like a good coach with kindness, support, and understanding, and not harsh criticism. And what is that self-compassion in action? Me telling myself regularly, may I accept myself as I am. May I forgive myself. May I be strong and may I be patient. Very important. When I keep looking inwards, when I keep speaking with myself with lots of love and compassion, and in Rajyoga, there is a nice principle we talk about. Apne aap par rehem karna seekho. Learn to be compassionate with yourself. In today's world of so much negativity and so many expectations from so many people, it's very important that I learn to love myself. I learn to be compassionate with myself because of all the people in the world, I deserve my attention and love. I deserve my attention and love. And meditation is the opportunity for me to pay that attention to myself and for me to love myself. Meditation is the opportunity for me to pay attention to myself, to take care of myself, to experience my own beauty. And me giving time to to practice meditation, and me permitting myself to practice meditation is the greatest act of self-compassion you can do to yourself. And how do you talk to yourself? Spend a minute going through that. So the key is for me to speak with myself as if a best friend is speaking with me. Or the way I would speak with my best friend, I will speak with myself with the same kind of non-judgmental awareness, with the same kind of love and attention. And when we do this self-talk, it also impacts our brain. Very interesting. So this is the prefrontal cortex, and this is anterior cingulate cortex. Even if you don't remember anything, just don't worry, just stay with me. And this is the emotional center. So this is the rational thinking brain, and this is the emotional brain. And anterior cingulate is like a fulcrum that balances the activity between thinking brain and emotional brain. Literally, when I get too emotional, too negative, and too anxious, as we saw yesterday, the blood flow goes more to my emotional brain and not to my thinking brain. And why are we learning about this? Because when I consciously start doing positive self talk, when I consciously start doing meditation, it strengthens the anterior cingulate and frontal anterior cingulate circuit. That is, this part of brain starts becoming stronger and stronger. That is, more and more connections are grown in my thinking brain so that I can take control of my emotions, so that I can calm down more easily. That is, our positive self-talk and our meditation is physically changing the structure of the brain. Very important. And we will discuss the mechanism tomorrow. For now, understand that when you speak positively with yourself, you are also transforming your brain physically for good. And how to change our self-talk? So let's see a very simple video to understand what helps to change our self-talk. Interesting, isn't it? The balls are moving up, which is against the gravity. That is what our eyes are showing. So if you see, as the ball was put, the ball moved up, because that is what we saw. We know it should not be possible, but that is what our eyes were showing us. Now watch. Isn't it? So the balls were never moving up. They were appearing to move up. They were actually moving down, but they were appearing to move up. And when was this visible? When I changed. In the first few seconds, my perception was the balls were moving up. Even though I know it is not true, that is what my eyes were perceiving. And for all of us, my perception is my reality at that point of time. Very important. Irrespective of what the reality is outside, what I perceive with my sense organs becomes my reality. And my perception, what I see and what my sense organs make me experience, is governed by my perspective. That's what you saw in the video. When I changed my perspective, instead of looking at it from the front, when I went back and I moved up, I saw an entirely different reality. My perception is governed by my perspective. When I changed my perspective, my perception, that is my experience, changes. Reality was the balls were always moving down. We will not change the reality. But by changing our perspective, we will change how we experience that reality. Very, very, very important. And that's exactly what Rajyoga meditation helps us do. It will not change the reality, but it will give you a different perspective through which your perception can change. In the last 3 or 4 days, for those of you who are practicing, this different perspective of me being a soul, me being a virtuous being, me being a beautiful being, you must have seen your experience also must be changing slowly but steadily. Because when I change my perspective, my perception changes. And go back to the principle we discussed. When I change the way I look at things, the things I look at change. When I change the way I look at things, the things I look at change. And in any given moment, in any given situation, my perspective is governed by my self talk. That is why it is so important for me to become aware of my self talk, because I am creating it, I am the master. And when I change that self talk, when I transform that self talk, I become aware and then change it, transform it, then my experience changes. And this belief that aham atma mama shariram helps me to take control of that self talk, because it is reminding me of my capability of being able to transform my thoughts, because I am the creator. So when I remind myself of that capability, the probability of my using that ability increases. Let's see a few examples. Oh my God, it's the same project again. Last time I goofed up and I'm sure I will fail again. The default negative self-talk. But we can replace it. With today's knowledge, you can become aware and change it. Just because I failed last time does not mean I will fail again. Let me try once again and see the difference this makes to your motivation level and this makes to your motivation level. Task is the same. You are the same. But when you do negative self-talk, it demotivates you. When you transform it to positive, it motivates you. It's better for me to avoid facing many of life's difficulties than to risk failing or being rejected. Because some of us will never try something new because we are so scared. If I fail or get rejected, I will still accept myself and choose to see myself the way God does. Very important. And how does God or Paramatma or Supreme Soul see me? We will learn in Day After Tomorrow session. What differentiates the soul and the Supreme Soul, Atma and Paramatma? What is his perspective? We will learn Day After Tomorrow. So the positive counterpart is, if I fail or get rejected, I will still accept myself because it's me, and choose to see myself the way God does. Another very interesting self-talk that we keep doing with ourselves. Someone or something is making me feel depressed, utterly miserable. No one can make me feel anything. My emotions are the result of my choices. Now you are becoming master, because now you know you are the creator. So we start taking the responsibility and ownership. And make a note of this and reflect. Nobody can make me feel inferior without my permission. Nobody can make me feel inferior without my permission. I'm going to share another very interesting insight here. When somebody said something, immediately you don't have to react. Because if you are reacting, it means you have accepted and agreed with what they are saying. You forgot your capability to make a decision and reject what they are saying about you. You have that power. If you don't permit them, if you don't agree with what they are saying, You are not adding your judgment there. Then that remains as a thought. It doesn't become a feeling. Very important. So start exercising your power in choosing your emotions and choosing your responses. Very important. Do not permit anyone to make you feel inferior, nor do you permit your own negative self-talk to make you feel inferior. So the summary, become aware of your self-talk, avoid negative self-talk, because until now we were not even aware. Now that we become aware, avoid negative self-talk. As soon as you become aware of your story, stop it. Tell yourself, Bala, relax. Don't create the same old story. Let us edit it. Let us create a positive story for today. Stop and start adopting positive self-talk. Step by step, conversation by conversation, situation by situation, we will learn. Please be patient. Please be persistent. Please be rahmdil towards yourself. You will make it. It's a process. It's not an event. Give yourself that time because you deserve that attention, love, and time. And the more we become soul conscious, the easier it becomes for us to have positive self talk. And be careful from here on how you are talking to yourself because you are listening. Let's do a little differently today. Let's sit back, relax, and spend few minutes doing some positive self-talk with ourselves by reviewing what we learned until now. Just sit back, relax, and try to recall what all lessons you have learned so far in these last 4 days. And take a notebook and start writing them. Take a few minutes, relax yourself, review, let it run like a small movie, and then any important point that comes to your mind, write it down. Very, very important. So let's do that. Om Shanti.
Thank you very much to all of you. Now we would be beginning with our Q&A session. Before we do that, we would want to make a small note about all the notification. We request you all to please visit bkitving.org/apply-rajyoga to see all the previous sessions recording. You can post your questions on bkitving.org/feedback. And now, Balabhai, we would be beginning with Q&A session. Welcome. The first question which I would like to ask is, Balabhai, can a meditative person be ambitious and desire worldly luxuries, or he turns to sannyasi thinking?
I have been practicing meditation for the last 26 years. And just a couple of days ago, we ordered an AC in one of our rooms at home. So I also wear good clothes. I also have good shoes. And I eat good food. And to save, I have to travel long distances. I also take flight. So this fear is unfounded. What helps you is to become master of your desires rather than you becoming a slave. So whatever you enjoy that life from a position of strength rather than from a position of weakness. So you don't have to worry. Meditation will not turn you into a sannyasi who is going to wear torn clothes, who is not going to comb his hair, or if you are a guy, not shave his beard. No, it won't turn you into that. You don't have to worry about it. And yes, you can be ambitious if you want to become the best that you can become. Meditation can help you by helping you focus on your strengths rather than you getting caught up in a bunch of weaknesses.
Thank you, Balabhai. I would like to remind all of the participants to keep sending their questions to BK Krati. Meanwhile, we are addressing few of them. Balabhai, the second question is, I want to purge and get out of some past experience. However, it occurs more while I meditate. Can you please help me with this?
Yeah. So based on what kind of emotional trauma we have gone through, when we sit in meditation, naturally, because the mind is calm and the impression is strong, that is the impression that first comes. So an easier way to, or I would say a better way to handle it is to listen to guided commentaries rather than sitting and meditating on your own. So at least for the first few weeks on a daily basis, if you can listen to the relaxation commentaries, the guided meditation because hello.
Yes, Balabhai.
Okay, there was some issue. Anyway,
Yes.
so I was saying when you are trying to meditate on your own, it is possible that these emotions that are buried inside will come out, or thoughts buried inside will come out. So it is best that you start using guided commentaries, because when the thought is given from outside to you, you don't have to think because your mind is already engaged the way I am doing now. So as a part of the session, when you are listening to my voice, the thoughts are already being supplied to you. So the chances of your mind getting distracted are lesser. I'm not saying it won't get distracted at all, but it is easier for you to bring it back. So that's one, listening to the guided commentaries. And the second most important habit that we need to inculcate, even though it's a little difficult in the beginning, is whenever those thoughts come, don't get scared and simply tell your mind, Bala, this is not the time for thinking those thoughts. This is my meditation time. As you saw in today's session on positive self talk, keep gently bringing your mind back to your meditation activity. Each time your mind goes to those thoughts, gently bring it back. Don't get irritated, don't get frustrated, don't get scared. Don't try to indulge in those thoughts, because when you indulge, they become stronger. So you acknowledge, ignore, and bring your mind gently back to these thoughts. It's going to take some time, it's going to take some practice, but gently, as you keep doing progressively, these negative thoughts will keep reducing. But to start with, start playing guided commentaries.
Thank you very much, Balabhai. Balabhai, there is a clarification which is required. How would you know whether the beliefs which we have are correct or not? Is there a way to understand that?
Yeah, if the belief that you have is helping you move ahead, is helping you forge good relationships with others, is helping you emerge any of the qualities, original qualities of the soul, then that is a positive and empowering belief. If any belief is making you feel bad about yourself, it is making you feel anxious, it is making you feel scared, it is making you weak, that is, if any belief is making you experience any qualities of body consciousness, then that is a negative belief. Because positive belief is always empowering, and a negative belief is always disempowering. Very simple litmus test.
But Balabhai, there's another question related to that. Will always doing positive talk to self will not lead to being overconfident?
Good question. When you are having positive self-talk with yourself, we are saying that you also start focusing on the facts in the situation as they are. You are not trying to paint something on top of the facts. You are trying to become aware of the facts as they are, including about your own self. That is, you are getting in touch with the reality, but from a position of strength. So, for example, if you are running temperature, okay, and then you will tell yourself, yes, I'm running temperature. Let me not get scared or anxious during these times. Let me see if that temperature is going to go down. And from that position of strength, you will wait rather than panicking. Then even after one day, the temperature is not going down, you once again become aware, okay, the temperature has not gone down, it's still 100 or 101, let me go to the doctor. So you are not trying to sit and then say, let me meditate, let me give positive thoughts, let me allow my mind to influence my body, I will try to make sure that this fever goes away only with my positive thinking. No. So you observe, you become aware, and then you take whatever corresponding next step needs to be taken so that you can come back to health. That is the original positive thinking. Positive thinking is meant to reduce your unnecessary fears and anxiety and allow you to become aware of the facts in the situation as they are and be in a relaxed state such that you can make appropriate decision. That is a definition of positive thinking here. So positive thinking does not mean you will stop looking at the negativity or becoming negativity around you. Positive thinking means while you become aware of the negativity around you, you will not allow that negativity to influence you, but you will make you will generate enough capacity inside you so that you can protect yourself from that negativity. Please understand the difference. You are not trying to gloss over the negativity. You are becoming aware of it. And at the same time, you are making yourself powerful enough such that you protect yourself from that negativity.
Thank you, Balabhai. But there is another question. What if the negative belief is the actual truth? Should we ignore the truth?
See, negativity, you becoming aware, you don't have to adopt that negativity. When you adopt that negativity, that becomes a belief. We are talking about two things. World, whatever the situation is, there is negativity out there. Become aware of it. Become aware of it so that you can protect yourself, so that if possible, you can change that negativity. But nothing says that you have to adopt that negativity and you should take it inside yourself. Say, for example, if your friend failed in an exam and he is crying, in order to help your friend, you don't have to sit and cry with your friend, because that is not true friendship. People around you are afraid what is going to happen, but with your capability of meditation, you are not getting anxious because you are willing to face the situation. But if you go amidst them, in the middle of them, if you start becoming afraid, if you start becoming anxious, if you start feeling insecure, then you are trying to adopt what they are feeling. Is that useful? Check yourself.
Thank you very much, Balabhai. There are a few questions related to sleep and dreams. The question is, my mind is not getting calm while sleeping. Due to that, I'm not having proper sound sleep. It reminds me of office related work related to office. How should Rajayoga help me? And there's another question similar to that is, I'm getting a lot of bad and terrifying dreams sometimes. How to overcome that feeling?
So the first question is, whatever thoughts are coming to your mind, as we discussed yesterday and day before, especially with respect to your work and those things, write them down. And then tell yourself that I have written them down. I can't do them now because I'm at home. I will address them when I go to office tomorrow. So this way you have acknowledged the thought, you have written it down, and you are assuring your mind that I will get to it. So you don't have to worry about it now. And the second thing is, sit and listen to the guided meditation commentaries before you sleep. That's the second. And third thing is, do not try to do a lot of net surfing or watch lot of crime thrillers or some exciting stuff on the television at least for an hour before you sleep. Fourth, read something that is little boring. If you don't like a subject, pick up a book and try to read about that boring subject. Then you will fall asleep very easily. So these are some of the simple tips that you can start following. And if you are interested, Kratiben, you can type my website where they can watch the sessions on a detailed session on sleep. You can type let me type the digital wellness website where they can watch the session on sleep, and they will learn a lot more about it. And with respect to the dreams, try to follow some of the sleep hygiene and check yourself if this, when you sleep deeply, you following the sleep hygiene, then some of these dreams will come down. But if these dreams are increasing and they are disturbing your sleep and it is happening quite often, then we would encourage you to go meet a psychiatrist, because then they can actually give you a mild medication which can take you into deep sleep.
What about the terrifying dreams, Balabai? Similar thing?
That's what I was saying. These terrifying dreams, try to follow this sleep hygiene and try to practice these affirmations and positive meditation before you sleep. And even after that practice for a few days, these dreams are not going away, then you definitely might want to meet the psychiatrist.
Thank you, Balabhai. There's just one more question. How does the kind of food we are having affect meditation? Is there any effect of food?
Absolutely. The kind of food that we have has a very big impact on our mind. Annamayam hi saumya manaha is what has been said in Chandogya Upanishad many thousands of years ago. It means whatever you eat becomes your mind. It means whatever kind of food stuff you are consuming will impact your mind. So as far as possible, if you can eat sattvic food like vegetables, fruits, nuts, anything that is vegetarian, where you don't eat too much of spices, too much of oil, too much of fried stuff, when you avoid, or too much of processed stuff, when you avoid them, then your food will have positive impact on your mind. And for those of you who are interested, you might want to explore this new field called nutritional psychiatry, which talks about impact of food on mind. There is a very clear relationship between eating junk food and becoming emotional, depressed, and anxious. So if you want to maintain good state of mind, then eat sattvic food. For those of you who eat non-vegetarian, try it for a month and check for yourself how you feel, how you think by avoiding all sorts of non-vegetarian food. That is why all spiritual paths suggest vegetarian and sattvic food, because food has a very deep impact on your mind.
Thank you very much, Balabhai. I think we can only take these many questions for today. I request you all, in case your questions got remain unanswered, you can send your questions to bkitiving.org/feedback and we'll try and cover it tomorrow. Thank you, Balabhai. Thank you very much. Thank
Om
you,
Shanti.
everybody. Om Shanti.
Have a great day.